This week's focus is on point of view in stories. Are you ready to learn about point of view? Let's take a closer look at the words point of view. Point of view. Let's write the words 3 times on the sheet of paper in front of you. After this lesson, you will be able to clearly state the words point of view and explain it in your own words. You will also be able to identify different types of point of view. When we talk about point of view, we are talking about the narrator of the story. The narrator is the person telling the story. Write the word narrator on the sheet in front of you 3 times. How many types of point of view are there? There are 4 types of point of view, or POV. First person, second person, third person limited, third person omniscient. First person point of view. Write first person point of view on your sheet 3 times. First person POV is when a story is narrated or told from the protagonist's viewpoint. It is called first person because the narrator uses pronouns like I and me to make the reader feel like they are seeing everything from the protagonist's viewpoint. First person point of view example. My name is Devin. This is my first day at Edgewood Middle School. I move a lot. My dad's job is in the military. Some people think moving is hard, but I like it because I meet a lot of neat people and see a lot of cool places. Did you notice how the narrator was Devin, the protagonist? The author used I and my to show a first-person point of view. This POV lets the reader see the story through Devin's eyes. First-person POV review. The narrator is the protagonist. The narrator uses I and me so the reader feels like they are looking through the eyes of the protagonist. First person feels like being in the driver's seat of the story. Second person point of view. Write second person POV on your sheet 3 times. Second person point of view, or POV. The author speaks directly to the reader. The author uses the pronoun you to address the reader. This POV is used in manuals and create your own adventure books. Example of second person POV. You are stranded on a deserted island. You have no food and no fresh water. The sun is beating down on you. You have to decide if you want to try to swim past the sharks or explore the island one last time. What do you do? Notice how many times the pronoun you was used to address the reader. Third person point of view limited and third person point of view omniscient. Let's take a closer look at third person limited and omniscient. Pay close attention to these next 2 slides. Third person means that the narrator is a person outside of the story. Third person seems like someone is watching the story and telling the reader what is happening to the characters. Limited means a set amount. Write limited on your paper 3 times. Lim-it-tid. Limited. Omniscient means all-knowing. Write omniscient on your paper 3 times. Omniscient. Write third person limited POV 3 times on the sheet in front of you. Lim-it-tid POV. Do you remember this slide from the first person example? In that example, we, the reader, only knew what Devin was thinking and feeling. In third person limited, we will only know Devin's thoughts and feelings, but the story will not be told from Devin's viewpoint. In third person narration, a reader views the story from a narrator outside of the story. Pay close attention to the next slide. Third person limited example. Devin was new at Edgewood Middle School. This was the second school he had been to during 6th grade. His dad was in the military. Devin liked moving because he liked to meet new people and see cool places. In third person limited, the narrator is outside of the story. The narrator used the protagonist's first name and the pronoun he to talk about Devin. A reader feels like the narrator is describing the story as it happens. Remember, limited means a set amount. In third person point of view limited, the narrator only shares the thoughts and feelings of the protagonist. Write third person omniscient POV 3 times on the sheet in front of you. Omniscient POV. In third person omniscient, the all-knowing narrator will share more than one character's thoughts and feelings with the reader. In third person narration, a reader views the story from a narrator outside of the story, but an omniscient narrator knows more than a limited one. Devin was new at Edgewood Middle School. He wasn't nervous because this was the second school he had been to during 6th grade. His new friends Cooper, Mila, and Mai were happy to show him around the school. Cooper was excited because Devin was going to join the school's soccer team. Mila thought Devin was cute. Devin knew he was going to like being a student at Edgewood. In third person omniscient, the narrator is outside of the story. The narrator used the protagonist's first name and the pronoun he to talk about Devin. A reader feels like the narrator is describing the story as it happens. Remember, omniscient means all-knowing. In third person point of view omniscient, the narrator shares the thoughts and feelings of more than one character. It is usually the protagonist and other characters close to the protagonist. Are you ready to practice together? Look at the next slides and determine the point of view. Use your tools to figure it out. 1. Who is telling or narrating the story? 2. Are you reading the story from the protagonist's viewpoint? 3. Is the narrator describing the story to you? And 4. Is the narrator sharing only the protagonist's thoughts and feelings, or more than one character's thoughts and feelings? I wish we had planned this trip better. Josie doesn't know how to read a map. I am already hungry and cold. I am worried about animals in the woods, too. Who was telling the story? What type of POV was the narrator using? How did you do on the first one? Do you have a question before trying more practice questions? Use the tools to help you figure out the point of view. Kingston stood and watched his house on fire. He wondered if he had done something to cause it. He was sad because he had a lot of memories in that house. The firefighter sprayed the house for hours. Kingston stood and watched his house on fire. He wondered if he had done something to cause it. He was sad because he had a lot of memories in that house. The firefighter wanted to comfort the young boy. She knew he was very sad, but she had to keep spraying the fire. Did you notice the difference between the last two slides? One of them only knew Kingston's feelings and thoughts, while the other knew both the characters' feelings and thoughts. They are both third person because the narrator is outside the story, but which one was limited and which one was omniscient? The doctor tells you that you have a serious medical condition. With this condition, you will either dance and sing in public whenever you hear music, or act like a dog every time you hear people clapping. Which side effect do you choose? Which type of POV is this? Mr. Golden had to go see the doctor, which made him nervous. Dr. Jenkins was friendly. He greeted Mr. Golden and told him the bad news right away. He knew Mr. Golden would have a lot of questions. He also wanted to have time to comfort him. Which type of POV is this? Can you recall the 4 types of point of view? First person, second person, third person limited, third person omniscient. Which POV is the easiest for you to identify? Which POV is the hardest for you to identify? Look at the story you are reading for this week. Identify which type of point of view it is and explain your answer. Good luck. You can do it.